One of the great things about bowl turning is that I get most of my wood for free, assuming you don't count labor. Over time, I've built up a bit of a reputation among friends and family as a guy who will help take down or clean up fallen trees. Between that and cruising Craigslist and local Facebook groups, I've built up a pipeline of all local species that I can't possibly get around to turning in time. This log came from a coworker who lost a cherry tree in a storm a few days ago. I asked him to keep it long to prevent much loss due to the drying and checking on the ends. If the log sits even overnight, I pretty much consider the ends a waste and will just toss them aside. Unless it's something spectacular, I'll pretty much ignore wood which has been cut to firewood lengths unless I'm there cutting it myself and will be able to get it home for the rest of the process that day. One of the risks of storm-fallen trees especially is that the trunks will be cracked. That is what I found with the end of this one, so I hopped down a few more inches to see if it looked better. After I took a second cookie off, the end looked more solid. I measured down a couple inches wider than the diameter of the log and cut off what will become the first pair of blanks from the log. Sometimes I need to shim under the log when cross-cutting to make sure I avoid hitting the trailer or the ground. Once the first section is removed, I continue through the rest of the log until I have all the sections of the log that I can get. Any delay in use means that I'll lose more of the ends, and I'd be ashamed to lose any more of this nice specimen. After each log section is cut, I like to do a quick visual looking for any issues such as splitting or insect damage. This one I see some sort of defect right outside of the pith. I usually remove the pith from my blanks since it is the least stable area of the log and will often check the quickest. This tree must have grown on an angle. The pith is very off-center, which is normally a problem for lumber, but not a problem for bowl blanks. The two bowl blanks that I'll get out of this should be evenly weighted with growth ring lines, approximately being even. When I first tossed it down, it wasn't quite right, so I adjusted it to achieve that balance. Now I should get two even blanks out of the log. There are two theories of cutting blanks, long grain and end grain. Long grain, as I'm doing here, works well enough with a longer bar and a more powerful saw. It will pull long shavings of chips out, but they may clog the saw if they're not clearing fast enough. At this point, I've only cut one blank. I set it aside and reorient the other part of the log to remove the pith. Keeping some failed blanks and otherwise useless pieces around works great for supporting things. Another thing to note, when I am cutting, I am aligning the bar to be coplanar with the outside of the log here, not necessarily the previous cut. This will give me a blank that is evenly weighted when I go to mount it on the lathe. The pith section can be tossed or left to dry somewhere. I personally don't have much use for 18-inch quarter-sawn cherry myself. I do keep a lot of it around, under the illusion I might try making it into an end grain cutting board at some point when I have a ridiculous amount laying around. I found rocking the bar through the log seems to help clearing the chips, or at least gives the saw a chance to clear them. But the pile gathering at my feet needs to be kicked away regularly. I put this part in here intentionally. You'll see with this cut I'm removing a huge section to discard as pith. Don't feel bad about tossing ugly wood, and shallow bowls can be beautiful also. Also, this section I'll probably keep for use for spindle turning or perhaps some lidded boxes once it dries out. Immediately after I've cut the blanks, I will haul them to the shop for the last step of the process. Anchor seal is basically a liquid wax mixture used to seal the ends. It seems to cure on the logs, but not otherwise, so I keep the brush in a plastic bag. The end grain is the only wood I really want to prevent losing moisture. When it dries, it will check and crack, which is bad for appearance and safety. I paint the wax on just the end grain, which includes knots sometimes. I want a full seal so the coat can be rather heavy and thick. That pretty much wraps up my process when preparing blanks. I try to make sure to get to the blanks as quickly as possible since I like wet turning over dry wood. The only blanks I intentionally leave sitting around for a while are the ones I expect to spalt. But as you can see, I have quite a stack going right now. Thanks for watching, and God bless.